Well, President-elect Trump and his team are working furiously over the next roughly 2 months to vet and sign off on staffing picks. He made this announcement on Truth Social last night. Tom Homan will be joining the Trump administration in charge of our nation's borders, the border czar. There is nobody better at policing and controlling our borders. Likewise, Tom Homan will be in charge of all deportation of illegal aliens back to their country of origin. Homan once served as acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement during Trump's first term. He has touted his hardline views on immigration. On Sunday, he told Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures that deportations are going to be part of a well-targeted, planned operation conducted by ICE. Trump also shared this news with the New York Post last night. Trump told the Post, "I am honored to nominate Chairwoman Elise Stefanik to serve in my cabinet as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Elise is an incredibly strong, tough, and smart America First fighter." The House Republican Conference chair is one of Trump's biggest supporters. In a statement to the Post, Stefanik said she accepts the nomination and looks forward to earning support in the Senate. Carly and Todd.
And Maddie, there is, of course, a Senate leadership race happening, and Donald Trump is weighing in on part of it. What's going on there?
Yeah, that race is heating up. President-elect Trump is calling on those vying to become Senate GOP leader to support a Senate tool that essentially allows him to bypass Congress to quickly get his preferred administration officials in place. In this post on X, Trump calls for recess appointments. This refers to the president's ability to fill federal vacancies while the Senate is in recess. The top contenders to replace Mitch McConnell are getting in line. South Dakota Senator John Thune says we must act quickly and decisively to get the president's cabinet and other nominees in place as soon as possible to start delivering on the mandate we've been sent to execute, and all options are on the table to make that happen, including recess appointments. Texas Senator John Cornyn says the Constitution expressly confers the power on the president to make recess appointments. And here's Florida Senator Rick Scott.
Now, how do we get Trump's agenda done? How do we get his nominees done? How do we codify his executive orders? That's what's up for this leadership race right now. So I'm running to change. We've got to have a big change.
Both chambers of Congress would have to pass a resolution to head into recess.
Which one is it? You must choose. But choose wisely.
Let me choose.
He chose poorly.
Chose poorly. There's so much poor choosing going on right now, but don't worry. The Benny Brigade is the salty crew that's out to raid and plunder the D.C. swamp that is so deserving of a good pillaging, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here for it. Today is Monday, November 11th, 2024. Happy Veterans Day to all of those who served. God bless you. You finally have a president-elect who is willing to take a bullet for you, not the other way around. For my entire life, we've had leaders in this nation who were draft dodgers, who were cowards, who would send everybody else off to war to be cannon fodder, who started pointless, meaningless wars that cost us trillions and most importantly, cost us the greatest treasure in America, which is the lives of our service members. And so, thankfully, praise God, we have a president that actually understands that the number one way to thank a veteran and thank a service member is to not start pointless wars, to not put their lives in danger and their families at risk of losing their loved ones. This is the greatest way to thank a veteran, actually, is to vote for the president of peace. The president who wishes to bring the Pentagon to heel and to actually just make it a wartime diversionary force for evil and not a force that goes around and starts wars for no reasons in deserts because the Cheneys need to uptick their Halliburton stocks and Raytheon and Lockheed Martin stocks a couple points. So anyway, that's a long way of saying thank you, veterans. God bless you. We will continue the fight in your honor. Democrat Party implodes after Trump win. The devastation that has been wrought, the salting of the earth, is now fully revealed. And we have some salty clips for you to play today. Senate leadership race heats up as we expose the secret ballot this weekend in possibly the biggest story that this show's ever broken yet. We have more on the horizon. Lara Trump joins the program. We're very excited to have her on the show. Her first media hit after the victory that she brought to all of us as RNC chairwoman. We're so proud of Lara, and we're really excited to tell her so on our show today. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. So the United States Senate is trying to act against the will of the people. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe they should do a little reading about the Constitution. You can learn a little more about your Constitution with Hillsdale College. History, economics, the great works of literature, the meaning of our separate branches of government, what a mandate actually means in a landslide. Yeah, you can learn it all at Hillsdale, and you probably didn't learn it actually in your school, and your children certainly are not learning this, sadly, if they're going to public school or private school. So that is why Hillsdale College exists. Hillsdale College offers 40 free online courses, the most important and enduring subjects. You can learn about C.S. Lewis, the stories of the book of Genesis, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution. Some senators should read that. The rise and fall of the Roman Republic, and so on. It's free right now. It is totally free. I personally recommend you sign up for Economics 101 heading into the Trump administration, where you can learn about supply and demand, the failure of central planning, and the rise of macroeconomics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be how we win. We're going to have to educate people how the world really works. And reality, well, cruel mistress, reality is undefeated. Ladies and gentlemen, learn about the world around you with Hillsdale. Go right now to hillsdale.edu to enroll. No cost, easy to get started. Hillsdale.edu to register. Hillsdale.edu. Okay, so we broke some massive news this weekend where we published the secret whip count for the Senate. But before we get to that, because it has gone thermonuclear viral and we want to talk through it, we actually just if you see us smoldering here on the show, it's because we were hot off Steve Bannon's war room just moments ago, where I have a bit of an axe to grind against DC Republicans. I have an axe to grind because I lived there and I understand that system. And I don't claim to be a particularly high IQ individual. I've never lied to you. That's not my superpower, right? Like we have one superpower on this program, and it's that we're alive and we pay attention. Pattern recognition. We are able to actually see through these scumbags and liars, and we are ready to expose them. And that's what this program is going to do. That's what this program is going to set about doing over the next 4 years. We're going to hold up the side. We are going to salt the earth, and we are going to be air cover for a Trump administration because you, the American people, gave President Trump a mandate. Do we have the map? Let's put the map up. I want the map. Load the map every single second of every day. I want that map. Show the good people, Killer Klein. This is your mandate. You deserve to have your vote count. That's what a democracy is. Democracy says that over the long arc of history, the majority rules. And we are the majority. President Trump has won the popular vote by 5 million votes. He's won all 7 swing states, and he has 312 in the Electoral College. That is a landslide by every definition. And you deserve to see those policies that you fought for, donated for, waved flags for, put up a Trump yard sign for, posted on social media for, tuned into this program for. You worked. You won. You won. We won as a country. Here's the county by county look at your red kingdom here in America. The Red Kingdom. Got to tell you, this means that we should have the policies that we all voted for implemented. And that can't happen when you have hysterical women running the Senate. People who hate President Trump. John Cornyn and John Thune, who are indistinguishable from Liz Cheney. Right now, there is the first great betrayal ongoing in the Senate against President Trump. Unfortunately, I fear that it might be one of many if we don't actually put it down and bring it to heel. And so that is what this you have given us power. You follow along. We have big channels, and we're going to use them. We're not going to cuck into the corner and be good little doggies for Mitch McConnell and for Republican establishment. Just go along, because somebody's next in line. That's how it works. They've been next in line. They've been calling for January 6th political prosecutions. Don't you worry. No. Now's the time, ladies and gentlemen. Now's the time to fight back. And they're part of a system that we were elected to just destroy. And that is what we're going to do. How destructive was our victory? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Kornacki. There are these two dudes. Don't come for me in the comment. Oh, I don't care. Feel free. These two dudes that I compliment on CNN and MSNBC respectively. And they're these pollster guys. They're these dorky data dudes. One dude's named Harry Enton on CNN. One dude's named Steve Kornacki on MSNBC. And Steve Kornacki, the reason I like these guys is that they red pill, or black pill, actually, their audiences. These are left-wing audiences, but the data really hurts, okay? The data is the enema for their audiences, and it's time to take your medicine. You can't argue with reality. You can't talk your way out of the hard numbers. And ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The most glorious segment from this weekend. Steve Kornacki blackpilling MSNBC viewers with the true devastation of their worldview. Let's go.
Not just Donald Trump winning the election, but winning the popular vote. First time in 2 decades for a Republican. And how did he do it? He did it by transforming the Republican Party. It is now more diverse than it's ever been in modern times, and certainly much more than when Donald Trump first came on the scene 8 years ago. A lot of ways to look at this. How about this here? When it says pre-Trump, that's the last presidential election before Donald Trump started running. You got to go back to 2012 for that. Remember, 3 straight elections, Trump's been the Republican candidate. So pre-Trump, voters under 30 were going for the Democrats by 23 points. Folks with incomes under 50,000, 22 points for the Democrats. Folks without college degrees, 4 points for the Democrats. That's pre-Trump. What comes out of this election? Look at some of these shifts. The youth vote, that Democratic margin cut more than in half. Voters under 50,000, now a Republican constituency. Voters without a college degree, look at that shift. Now a core Republican constituency. And then we can talk about race, ethnicity. This gets into that diversity I mentioned a minute ago. Check this out. Again, pre-Trump versus now. The black vote still overwhelmingly Democratic, but that's a 15-point shift. It used to be 87 points for the Democrats, down to 72. How about this? You've heard a lot about it this week. This is what the numbers look like. Hispanic voters were 44 points Democratic before Donald Trump. Now, basically a toss-up constituency, and Asian Americans, a 32-point shift there as well. That's what's happened to the Republican Party since Donald Trump became its standard bearer 8 years ago. This has been the movement.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's just so glorious to watch. ALX, when he talks about Wisconsin, right after that clip. We're trying to keep the clips at a reasonable length on this program, but he talks about Wisconsin right after that. I would love to just get that loaded as a play-beside. You can literally flip the map, and we'll show you that we are the party of the working class. Here's the county by county one more time. Look at that beautiful country. We live in a red country with little blue dots that are insane asylums for people, and we are winning. It's an amazing thing to see what has happened in just a short period of time. I'll show you here in just a moment. the Wisconsin map. Charlemagne the God is somebody who is oh, there it is. Okay. Hey, beautiful. Oh, so awesome. Well, that is a plebiscite killer Klein. So amazing. If you're from the state of Wisconsin, I think they stole a Senate seat in Wisconsin. They did a Joe Biden. We can show you on the map. We can show you on the vote count, the vote tally. They did it right in the dark of night. You had one of those. You had one of the, like the candidate was losing, and then boop, jumped up. I think Democrats have Tammy Baldwin. That's exactly right. Jamie, the great artist Jamie on our team, lives in Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin had a boop in the middle of the night. I feel it. Let's go grab that. It's all over my timeline. They did it again. National voter ID now. Just because one election result went our way in the totality of the election doesn't mean we should not fight in the margins for people like Kari Lake in Arizona and in Michigan and in Wisconsin, where I firmly believe that Senate seats had shenanigans. Ladies and gentlemen, first off, here's the positive results. I'll show you the negative results and the positive results. Here's Steve Kornacki, positive results for Wisconsin. Okay? This is very impressive. Obama election less than 15 years ago versus today. Tell me who's the party of the working class. Let's go.
All up Wisconsin. We know in this election, Donald Trump, you're looking at a pre-Trump election, because I just want to show you, this is what a battleground state looked like not that long ago. When Barack Obama ran and carried the state over John McCain, look at all the blue here. So many of these are small rural counties with blue-collar populations. Barack Obama could sweep almost all these counties. Democrats were competitive here. Take a look at this map, and I'm going to call up what just happened this week. All that blue has become, look at all that red. All of those blue-collar areas with Donald Trump as the Republican leader for the last 8 years have moved this dramatically to the Republicans, and it's left the Democrats relying more than ever on areas like Madison, Wisconsin, Milwaukee County, areas that have large populations of voters with college degrees, of higher-income voters, of progressive voters, and in this election...
Okay, this is all you need to see right here. I've muted the clip, okay? I've muted the clip. All you got to see is right here, this flip. This is the most glorious thing ever. Check this out. Look at what happens to the state. There you go. We are the majority. And don't you tell me that a state that did that, a state that went from absolute blue, like a total and complete sea of blue, to red, that in this environment right here, you're telling me that in this environment, that the Democrat senator won, horribly unpopular, Tammy Baldwin. She's like she's low IQ. You listen to her talk, she's a dumb person. There's an incredibly popular President Trump endorsed candidate. And look what happened. Would you look at this? Boy, man. Here's what happened. Dark of night, ballot dump all over again. Let's pop it up. Look at that. Boy, oh boy. All you needed was an extra percentage there. It's only a matter of, it's less than 30,000 votes. Can we zoom on this? But you can see it. You can see the trend line. Can somebody explain that exactly? What happened there? 4 days since the election. What happened there? What exactly occurred in the dark of night right there on the map? This is a Joe Biden absolute spike in votes. So somebody explain to me calmly and coolly and slowly so that I can understand and you can understand. What the hell is that? Because on its prima facie, that's stealing a Senate race. There's no mathematical or algorithmic explanation for that. You can see exactly where the trend lines are. You can see exactly how the vote is going. You can see exactly who's winning and who's losing. It's a tight race, no doubt. But you can see the pull ahead there. And then you can see, obviously, the trend lines. And that the blue line is not going to catch the red line. There's no algorithmic or mathematical or scientific explanation for this. Somebody explain. We need immediate investigations into these states. We need immediate, mandatory. These are federal races. These federal races have federal oversight from the federal government. The Republican Congress needs to make it its number one first day priority to pass mandatory voter ID. You'll get rid of this. And the people who are responsible for this need to be frog marched, prosecuted, thrown in prison. We all need to watch. There needs to be, I will personally send a camera from this program to go and film the election fraudsters who steal elections being thrown in prison so that we can have it for all time. It'll be the most viral clip on the internet. We need to make examples of people who do this. Please explain it. There's no explanation. Happened at 4 a.m. in the morning. Just like 2020. You've never seen an election, you've never seen election results like this, and nobody has any explanation as to why these vote totals do this and behave like this. It to impossible. And so, we're going to leverage the considerable muscle of this program to finding this out. ALX is sitting here sweating bullets because over the last 3 years, we have been one of the few voices that are willing to talk about this. We've brought on experts. We've spoken about it at length. We just got hit piece after hit piece after hit piece written about us because we cover these instances. We talk about this. We ask these questions. Skepticism cannot be wrong. You are not wrong to be a skeptic. Asking questions is a precursor, a prerequisite to truth. And we have a right to ask, what the hell happened here? Did Democrats just steal a Senate seat? It's our obligation to ask and to investigate. The reason why I'm saying ALX is sweating is not because ALX doesn't want free and fair elections. He does. It's just we push the outer limits, okay, of what the Biden regime said should be banned on the internet. Just asking these questions. But guess what? There ain't no Biden regime anymore, is there? New sheriff in town right now. And how did that sheriff get into town? Charlemagne the God, who is this urban radio show host, who's big-time Kamala big-time Kamala activist, obviously of the center left, but we respect him because he's kind of like, what's the word? He's like honest about the landscape of politics and where Democrats fail. And he goes viral every week for talking about the failures of Democrats, even though he is one. So at the very least, you got to give him a little hat tip and respect for that. Charlemagne the God was told live how many Latinos, Black Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans voted for Trump. President Trump winning the single greatest coalition in the history of America. Watch this reaction. It's glorious.
What do you make of the demographics here? I mean, Trump got 1 out of every 3 voters of color.
No.
Yeah.
1 out of
33%.
No. Really?
Yeah.
When you say color, you mean like black, brown, everything. Oh, well, I think that, people have different issues that they care about. And I think that there's nobody out there that's a single issue voter. I think some of this is a backlash to race and gender and identity politics. But, man, most people, they just care about keeping food on their table and keeping a roof over their head. And I think sometimes people forget about that. I think that they forget about, the working class. And for whatever reason, Donald Trump speaks to the grievances of the working class in a real way. And I keep telling folks, people will forget what you did, they'll forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And when you go back to 2020, even though it was a pandemic and it was COVID,
yeah,
people don't care. All they know is they got stimulus checks with his name on it, and that's what they remember. And so people think about that. When you have conversations with folks, they be like, yo, I remember how 2020 felt. And they think that they're going to feel that, in this next term.
Yeah, I mean, how do you explain? I mean, he obviously swept the battleground states. He drove up, turnout around the country in Republican areas, but he did much better than he had done before in places like Chicago, Brooklyn, Queens.
We can tell you why, because we were live during those rallies that Donald Trump would host and hold in Brooklyn, in Queens, in Harlem. It's called connecting with the American people. It's called retail politics. It's called being a G. And actually going out and making your case. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what a mandate is. Trump mandate, ladies and gentlemen, is to deport criminal aliens in this nation. He just announced Tom Homan. Man, I'm getting... Are you sick of winning? Oh, man. I'm not sick of winning, but boy, there has been a series of victories. Stephen Miller was just announced as White House Deputy Chief of Staff. That's awesome. Stephen Miller, friend of the show. Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff for the White House. And Tom Homan as the border czar. Man, have you ever seen a greater upgrade in American history? Kamala Harris to this guy. That's what a mandate is. A mandate means that over the long arc of time and history, that the will of the people, the will of the majority, gets enacted. And the majority of people say there is too much criminal immigration to this nation. And ladies and gentlemen, it's about to get spicy. Let's go.
I spoke to the president-elect on the phone 48 hours after his victory and asked him what he believes his mandate is. He told me it's to bring common sense back to the country. As for day one, he told me, I think we have a lot of firsts, and brought up strengthening the border. I pressed him on the price tag of his mass deportation plan, which experts say could be in the billions. He told me, quote, it's not a question of price tag. Really, we have no choice. When people have killed and murdered, they're not staying here. There is no price tag.
You have to go home. They have to go. Yeah, you have to go. Donald Trump, drive-through window, McDonald's. You come to this country, you break our laws. The laws of the nation state clearly it is illegal to enter this country without an invitation. It is illegal to claim asylum anywhere other than a port of entry in an orderly fashion, and it is a felony to stay in this country illegally. Also, most importantly, is that the vast majority of the criminal alien population in this country are subsistent entirely on the federal government. They get housing stipends and food stipends and travel stipends and flown in the dark of night. Without that assistance, which is going to very quickly, in a matter of weeks, be totally dependent on Stephen Miller, friend of the show, ally of the program, dear friend of us, actually. It's a great dude. Well, what's going to happen exactly? You got to go back. And that's what the American people want. This is what the American people voted for. Ladies and gentlemen, it's really an exciting time to be alive. Again, Tom Homan has been announced as the border czar. Jim Jordan this weekend asking all the right questions. What happened to the 10 million people who voted for Biden but not for Kamala Harris? Jim Jordan also saying that he wants all American immigration to come to a halt, period, for them to simply put a stop on it in its entirety until we can figure out what the hell is going on. Very good. Let's go.
No, I think the Democrats got to ask, why did we go from getting 81 million to getting 70 million? What happened to those 10 million people? Maybe they need to, maybe it's not smart to run an election where you have no vision, no record to run on.
Do you believe
that
the 2024 election was free and fair?
I do.
And why was it different from 2020 when he lost? Is that the only difference?
No, there were concerns about 2020 with all the mail-in voting that happened. You know, what Pennsylvania had like 2-point-something million mail-in ballots come in without any signature verification, which was required under Pennsylvania statute. So there were all kinds of concerns with how the 2020 election was carried out. But
there was absolutely
the biggest question Democrats need to be asking: what happened to the 10 million voters that Joe Biden got that didn't come out for Kamala Harris? A bunch of them, President Trump's numbers were right up where they were in 2020, but the Democrats were much lower.
I love it. I love it. On this program last week, Wesley Hunt saying the same thing. What the hell happened to the 20 million voters? Was Joe Biden just such a better candidate than Kamala? Well, then why did you do this hot swap? Exactly. If Joe Biden was such a popular candidate, then why did you replace him? What the hell happened to 20 million Democrat voters? Exactly. We've already shown you we've shown you exactly what happened. We've shown you the graph. Here's the graph, ladies and gentlemen. No. The graph of the election result, please. There you go. Here's your Democrat voters. There you go. Boop. 4 a.m., dark of night. That's where it came from. And now it's become painfully clear what happened in 2020. And we've seen the ghosts in the machine as it continues this process to affect our elections today. Nonetheless, it was a total rout, and Democrats are having a real one, a true struggle session live. They have been screaming and rending their garments. Bernie Sanders decided to just go straight on beast mode against the Democrat Party. Bernie Sanders is himself a despicable coward, filthy, dandruffy communist who steals his neighbor's paper in Washington, D.C. Do you know that? I actually watched it happen once in my commute. I watched Bernie Sanders. I know exactly where he lived. I watched a dusty old Bernie Sanders in a bathrobe walk next door and steal his neighbor's paper. This was a big news story. It was the Washington Post, and Bernie's such a filthy communist. He actually literally redistributes the wealth from his neighbor into his own lap so that he can sit there and read as he eats his, what would Bernie Sanders eat for breakfast? I don't know, it's like Metamucil, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, the point is that Bernie Sanders allowed the Democrat Party to rig the election. You know who was the first recipient of this style of election? Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is an authentic populist, okay, in the sense that he's against NAFTA. He wants to close down the borders. He's been very, very clear on this. The Democrat Party rigged elections against him in 2020 and 2016 in order to get people like Muppets for the system. So they had their own Trump. Sorry to disgrace Trump by comparing him, but nonetheless, they had their own Trump. They had Bernie Sanders. They had their guy, the champion of the people. They had their guy. And they schlonged him, ladies and gentlemen. And now Bernie apparently is now out for blood. Here we go.
Bottom line, if you're an average working person out there, do you really think that the Democratic Party is going to the mats, taking on powerful special interests and fighting for you? I think the overwhelming answer is no.
Okay. Bernie Sanders releasing a statement on the eve of the election loss, torching the Democrat Party. David Axelrod, who predicted that David Axelrod was the architect of Joe Biden and Barack Obama's victories. Well, I'll say Barack Obama's victories, all right, because he doesn't actually like Joe Biden that much. David Axelrod, nonetheless, on TV saying Democrats have destroyed themselves. Here we go.
Well, you've heard me over the last few days. I do have concerns about the way the Democratic Party relates to working class voters in this country. The only group that Democrats gained with in the election on Tuesday was white college graduates, and among working class voters, there was a significant decline. The only group they Democrats won among were people who make more than $100,000 a year. You can't win national elections that way, and it certainly shouldn't be that way for a party that fashions itself as the party of working people. So I think he has a point. Mike knows this because we've been talking about it. You can't approach working people like missionaries and say, we're here to help you become more like us. There's a kind of unspoken disdain, unintended disdain in that. I think Biden has done, programmatically some good things for working people, but the party itself has increasingly become a smarty pants, suburban, college-educated party, and it lends itself to the kind of backlash that we've seen.
Smarty pants party. Did you have anybody in your neighborhood? Let me know in the comment section. Shout out in the chat. Did you have anybody in your neighborhood that had a sign that says Kamala Harris? Obviously, I had one in my neighborhood. The sneering, condescending, holier than thou elitism of the Democrat Party is something that we are wishing to eradicate from all politics. It's something that we must be rid of in our party. But let the Democrats continue to lose. Let them continue to do it. Because what happens here is you sit inside of an elitist echo chamber, sniffing your own farts, navel gazing, telling yourself how great you are, how enlightened you are. And the American trash truck driver who can't afford groceries says, F you. My life is hell. This nation is in shambles. And then they deliver this. Here's the map. We'll keep putting it up. The map, the sweet, glorious map. And then this is the response to the elites talking to the elites about only elite people problems. Every celebrity on earth, every celebrity that exists is living today was paid by Kamala Harris to come forward, some millions. Yeah, Oprah was paid millions of dollars to come forward and endorse her. Every person on the Diddy list, every person that ever flew to Epstein Island, every person that's ever been on Harvey Weinstein's casting couch, they all got an invitation by the Kamala campaign to go and do a slovenly, embarrassing, read from a script. I like Kamala Harris. Read from a script. It didn't matter. Because they're not real. You turn on the lights, they disappear. They're ghosts. Taylor Swift doesn't care about the cost of groceries. The cost of fuel doesn't matter to Taylor Swift. We looked up Taylor Swift's jet. It costs like $50,000 an hour to operate Taylor Swift's jet. It burns so much fuel. $50,000 an hour. Do you know that's the price of a single ticket in the front row of a Taylor Swift concert? That's how irrelevant everyday needs are to these people. And so America threw them in the garbage where they belong, as they called half of us garbage. And we said a gigantic F you. Because clearly, what made you famous or made you successful in the first place, which was some spark of authenticity, you've lost it. You've sold out. You've forgotten the forgotten man and woman. And this was our revenge. And it was glorious, ladies and gentlemen. Democrats have no leader. The era of Obama is done. The House Obama has been razed to the ground. This was the last great house of the Democrat Party. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it has been destroyed. Here we go.
There's no heir apparent, and we can see this perhaps best by let's taking a look at the early poll leader for 2028. There isn't one. There's no early favorite. There's no early clear favorite. And that is really unusual because the bottom line is when you have no incumbent Democratic president following this year, we've looked back at similar situations. Back in 2017, Joe Biden was the clear heir apparent heading into 2005 and then 2013, heading into the 2016 campaign, Hillary Clinton was way up in the national polls. It was pretty clear she was the heir apparent. How about Al Gore going into the 2000 campaign or 04? Again, the clear heir apparent. You have to go all the way back to the 1992 campaign with this giant question mark over here. Let's see if I can draw it in. There we go. Where there was no clear heir apparent. This is going to be the first cycle, it seems, since going back all the way to the late 80s, early 1990s, in which there is no clear early frontrunner for the next Democratic nomination.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would argue that the single most important action of the Republican Party right now must be maintaining their promise to the American public about this election cycle. We elected Republicans to destroy a system in Washington, D.C., not to cozy up to it. There's a common phrase that's said in Washington. I lived there for 15 years, so I would know it. That says, everybody says they're going to go to D.C. to drain the swamp, and they realize it's not much of a swamp. It's actually more like a hot tub. And you can get very comfortable in it. You can ease in. You start getting rich. You start getting your back scratched. And all the Republicans who we send there get corrupted by the system. Posted this weekend. And it went thermonuclear. It's been seen by millions of people. I just wanted to break this down because it leads to our next fight, which is for the first great vote of the Trump administration, which will be in the Senate for leadership. Public service announcement. I lived in D.C. for 15 years, and I know that city couldn't culture well. The single greatest mistake that can be made by a new Trump administration will be letting Republicans from D.C. into the government. This is critically important. Let me explain. Do not hire the arsonist to fight the fire. Republicans who live and work in D.C. are, by definition, part of the very system we are trying to destroy. It's impossible to overstate how corrupt D.C. is. Republicans who thrive in D.C. culture are de facto Democrats. Here's how it works. D.C. is a Democrat superstate. Kamala won it by 96%. Republicans who are successful in D.C. survive by pledging fealty to leftist systems of power. They play by the rules. They're the House Republicans, trained harshly by D.C. culture to never get out of line, completely castrated and potty trained. These Republicans are not disruptors. They are the opposite. They're willing tools of the cultural left because they got rich inside the system the left built. Remember how Ronna McDaniel was immediately offered a fat contract by NBC? The moment we fired her, we got her fired. Her replacement, Lara Trump, will be joining the program very soon. But ladies and gentlemen, immediately Ronna gets paid by NBC News. They survive through betrayal. Any D.C. Republican hoping to be considered by the Trump White House must provide hard evidence that they publicly defended President Trump over the past 4 years of torturous attacks by the left. Spoiler alert, they didn't. They would never defy their true masters. A house divided against itself cannot stand. The D.C. Republican class are simply Democrat sleeper cells and should be treated as such. Team Trump must reject outright these resumes as though they worked for the Biden White House, because these people did work for the Biden White House. They hoped to see President Trump locked in prison, and you and me locked in prison if they could. They wish to see us bankrupted and our nation invaded. They stole everything from you, or tried, and they should get their reward. D.C. is a sunken place. Dark spiritual energy, filth, violent crime, homelessness, and degeneracy everywhere. I know this. I lived it. The city is a lawless, crumbling mess. These trends have accelerated rapidly in the past 4 years. Anybody who voluntarily exists in this environment is not spiritually sound. You know all the people who moved out of L.A. and D.C.? Like, I'm one of them. There was a dark force that rested upon that city like an occupying force on election night 2020. I saw demons. We saw literal demons. We saw demons prowling the street. I'm telling you we did. I'm telling you we did. My wife was white as a sheet. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, do not allow people who exist inside of this system to get into this government, or they will destroy it like a cancer destroys the body. You cannot rid yourself of cancer by smoking another pack. Throw them out. The era of Bush, Cheney, McConnell, Romney, Ryan, McCarthy, it's over. The Republican Party represents America, not D.C. This thing went thermonuclear. You should see the comments. And I have never had a post melt my phone down to the core like this. I couldn't sleep this weekend. I had so many people from Team Trump and otherwise, not going to name them, say how thankful they were that we are speaking out against the true. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this first comment. It's a perfect example of this. The true cancer at the root of our party. We will speak truth against it, okay? This is how you eradicate it. Dude, I'm 57. I was born in D.C., lived there my entire life. It is a cesspool of communism. Trump should pick no one who has been there for more than a year. They will undermine him at every turn, and we've already seen this movie. We know how it ends. So we're going to openly muscle and advocate against President Trump picking somebody who has fealty to the systems that we were just elected to destroy. Ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of destruction, man, they've done one hell of a job destroying our economy and the capacity for people to get ahead. This last 4 years have been a torturous example of how bad things can be. I'm very excited for mourning in America again, ladies and gentlemen, but you might be mourning the prices of the last 4 years. My friends at American Financing can help you out. The Fed has finally dropped rates, and they're going to drop them again. You need to call my friends at American Financing today. Now is the perfect time to consolidate your debt, reduce your monthly expenses, all that debt that's been piling up with gas prices and grocery prices. Home prices utterly unaffordable. It's really expensive. Credit card rates are insanely high. The mortgage rates dropping gives you an opportunity to wipe that debt out. American Financing can help you right now. Homeowners can save $800 a month on average, and they're closing in as fast as 10 days. So make the call today. Call American Financing at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. NMLS 182334. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I have the honor of inviting somebody to the program who I believe it is his, I believe it's his first time on the program. He's one of the bravest members of the Senate currently in that chamber. The great Senator Hagerty from the state of Tennessee, who shocked the world by coming out and endorsing Tim Scott for Senate leader this weekend, joins the program live now. Senator, an act of true bravery this weekend. I couldn't believe it because so many people have been saying in this chamber, oh, it's a secret ballot. We're not going to tell anyone who we're voting for. And you just said, Leroy Jenkins, we're coming out and we're going to stand up for the American people. Thank you, Senator, for that.
Well, Benny, you're talking about my endorsement for Rick Scott.
Yes.
And that is the result of what happened Tuesday of last week. We saw a landslide happen. The American people spoke, Benny, and you said it. The American people are ready to throw the bastards out. The American people are ready for us to get down to business and fix this nation. We haven't seen this type of landslide in 36 years, Benny. And we need to make certain that we have a Senate that is completely aligned with executing President Trump's strategy. No one has fought harder. Look, I've dealt with the deep state. I served in President Trump's administration in his first term. I came into the Senate with 17 of his staff on my team. And we have absolutely been the fighters in the Senate to try to get us back to this point. And it is a new day in America now. And we have to seize that opportunity and do everything that we can to make certain that we're moving in lockstep with President Trump and his agenda, the agenda that the American people spoke out so strongly for. I think it shocked Washington to its core that the American people spoke as loudly as they did. And we are ready now to move forward on the agenda post haste.
So I want to obviously remain polite on this program. And I'm not going to ask you to speak ill of any fellow senator. However, you have endorsed publicly Rick Scott. And I want to talk to you about that endorsement. What is it that made you say Rick is the man for the moment right now?
Because Rick is the senators that I work with that are in contending for leadership. Rick is the one that is most consistent with President Trump's vision. Mm-hmm. He has been in lockstep, in my view, with President Trump's posture. And I think he's ready and prepared to move us forward in a direction that's going to implement what the American people said loud and clear we needed to do on Tuesday. This wasn't a close election. The polls were bullshit, Benny. This wasn't a close election at all. And what we are seeing right now is the American people speaking up and saying, we're done with this experiment with Marxism. We're done with the swamp in Washington, D.C. We want to see material change. So that's what I want to see happen in the United States Senate. I want to see it happen across Washington, D.C. It's time for change. The American people have spoken, and this is one step in that process.
Senator, here's your thread right here. Everybody needs to go follow the senator immediately. This is one of the bravest things I've seen in Washington for a long time. You're getting great pickup here saying, hey, listen, like it's time to deliver this chamber back to the will of the people. It does seem a little peculiar. Some of the old posts of the other two members of the Senate who wish to vie for leadership, they seem indistinguishable from a Liz Cheney post when you're talking about January 6th. When you're talking about President Trump, there's a lot of anti-Trump commentary that's come out of Senator Thune and Cornyn over the last 4 years when President Trump was fighting for his life. And I guess that's what a lot of people are saying is we just want somebody who's willing to fight for us. And I think that's what this boils down to.
Well, that's certainly been my posture in the United States Senate. I've been fighting for President Trump at every step of the way. We're good friends. I have the utmost respect for him. I've never, frankly, seen anybody take the type of incoming President Trump has and continue to fight for America. He's doing this for us. He's not doing it for himself or anybody else. I mean, what the media have been saying is just dead wrong. President Trump has absolutely doing this to save America, to bring our nation back to the greatness that it can be. And I'm here to serve right alongside him in whatever role I can to make certain that he's successful in that process.
Senator, some people have very loudly been asking, what's going on here with this secret vote? Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, among others, with very large platforms, but also Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, RFK Jr. saying this is a little concerning that the Senate, which will be absolutely critical in President Trump's next administration, is going to have a secret ballot. Why not just say who you're voting for?
Well, I certainly have. Not at all hesitant to do so, Benny. So I think each senator will make their own decision. These rules are arcane. This is new to me. Look, I was a businessman. This is the only elective office I've ever served in. I ran following some very serious discussions with President Trump about leaving my post in his administration and coming to do this. President Trump told me he thought I could make more of a difference in this regard. And that's what I'm about. I'm more than happy to stand by my vote and tell my constituents that's what I'm doing. This is about the future of America, in my view, and standing strong right now. We cannot hesitate a bit. We have to deliver for the American public. The first 100 days, the first 200 days, we're going to have to do everything that we can to get President Trump's cabinet appointed, to get the members of his staff appointed. Look, I went through this. The resistance movement hit me back in 2017 when I came in. The Democrats used filibuster procedures to block me. We had to go through a special procedure, to get me in, but I navigated all of that. But they will do everything they can to slow us down, to throw sand in the gears. And we have to be as deliberate as we possibly can be. Again, working arm in arm with the executive branch, making certain that we're passing the agenda that the American public spoke so loudly to deliver on last week.
Can you give us an insight, Senator, if this goes as planned, and if President Trump gets strong allies in the Senate, what are some of the first pieces of legislation you'd like to see brought forward that our audience can expect?
Look, you can go to the Republican platform and see a number of things. I think we'll have to weave these in with executive orders, Benny, but sealing the border is the number one priority for the American public. Not only is it for our own safety, getting the fentanyl off the streets, getting the crime down in the cities, but the national security risk that we've been exposed to is unprecedented. And if you think about the burden that this is putting on, our entire society, try going into an emergency room. I mean, it's just completely clogged with all these people that are speaking multiple languages. Americans can't get in. Veterans aren't being served. Yes. And the previous administration has done everything they can. The Biden administration, the Harris administration has done everything they can to divert our resources to support these people that they're bringing across the border simply because they're trying to change the electoral map in America. We got to push all of this back. One thing I want to let you know, Benny, this is something we found out happened with the Obama administration as they were leaving in 2016, early 2017, is they redirected funds. They redirected resources. They put funds in their favorite NGOs, even the UN, to keep their pet programs going and keep those funds out of the hands of the Trump people as we were coming in. I sent letters to every agency head and department on Monday before the election, citing the exact pieces of the U.S. code that showed that movement is illegal, that diversion is illegal. Their attempts to move people and program and funds is illegal. And then I sent a complimentary letter to every inspector general in every department saying, I expect a full report demonstrating your compliance with the law. And I sent them a copy of that letter on January the 20th. I expect them to give us a full report. We're going to be all over these guys. And the Senate, again, needs to step up and start its oversight in an extraordinarily aggressive fashion, because I expect a lot of bad behavior between last week and January the 20th. Believe me, I'm going to be watching this like a hawk.
Good. I guess they're not allowing Dave McCormick to go through orientation. What's going to go on there, Senator?
It is unbelievable. They brought Mark Elias back to Pennsylvania. I guess they're going to be looking for more ballots and boxes in Philadelphia. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but I've called for this. Casey should acknowledge the results. Bob Casey put on his campaign platform that he's here to defend democracy. Well, what is going on right now? They're trying to undermine democracy as never before. The Democrats and the current administration will stop at nothing, and they'll stoop no lower. There's no level they won't stoop to try to retain power. And this is just full-blown evidence of it right before our eyes. I hope the American public sees this. Thank you for making it making that point public as well. Dave McCormick should be our next United States Senator from Pennsylvania, and we've got to make certain that happens too. With that, Benny, I'm sorry I have to say goodbye.
Yes,
it's been great to be on with you. Thank you.
God bless you, Senator. Everybody follow the Senator right here Okay, let's go ahead and give these brave senators power, all right? Get in and follow the great senator from the state of Tennessee. God
Thanks,
bless you.
Benny. All the
Godspeed.
best. God bless.
We will be your central clearinghouse for true power in the next administration. This program, we have such incredible bookers, we have such incredible people working on this program who can bring you the true power vectors of what's about to happen. We've been right about these things. We have some great sources, and I got to tell you what, man, we're not going to let this die. We're not going to let them try to sneak in the dark of night, a Liz Cheney to lead the Senate. Jamie made a meme. This is great. We're already making the memes. Jamie made a great meme in the middle of it. Throw the bastards out. Let's put it up. There we go. New meme template from the Benny Show. We're rocking. We're rocking, boys. That was Senator Hagerty, who's like really, I mean, truly one of those guys who's like profoundly brave, because supporting Rick Scott right now is a bit of a black mark on you in the Senate. It shouldn't be, of course, but it is because of how corrupt our system is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just make this very, very clear. Right now, Mitch McConnell is trying to orchestrate his own January 6th. It is his own coup against a democratically elected government. Mitch McConnell is trying to insurrect against President Trump. Okay, let's put it in their own terms. We'll talk about January 6th, ladies and gentlemen. In this program, my producers are telling me that Julie Kelly will be joining the program because she's been doing some research on how the anointed next in line senators who want to be leaders, John Thune and John Cornyn, how profoundly they supported locking up American citizens for January 6th. Oh yeah, baby. They'll be joining us. Julie will be joining us after Lara Trump, so you'll get the full breakdown. But here's the state of play as it stands right now. Elon Musk has endorsed Rick Scott. Vivek Ramaswamy has endorsed Rick Scott. RFK Jr. has endorsed Rick Scott, the senator from the state of Florida, for leader. Tucker Carlson has endorsed Rick Scott. Charlie Kirk has endorsed Rick Scott. We have endorsed Rick Scott. We have a nice little photo with him and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Scott is the leader. Don't show me in shorts. No, don't show me in shorts. I'm just kidding, Klein. I'm just kidding. I don't care. I don't care. You know, you do your best. You do your best to not be. Oh, there, Killer Klein saves me. Rick Scott is a self-funder, a successful businessman and former governor of the state of Florida. He's the reason why my family moved to the state of Florida, in part because of his excellent leadership, governance of this state, ripping out leftist rot and corruption, and leaving a wonderful state for Ron DeSantis to go on and continue his work. And Ron DeSantis has done, of course, an exceptional job of that. And so Rick Scott's one of those guys that I just have to be thankful to personally because of the way that he has run the state of Florida. And now the state of Florida, freaking Red Kingdom, man. You can't even find Democrats here anymore, except for the ones with the Kamala Harris, obviously. You can see here on the map. You're quick. Killer Klein is fast this morning, man. Look at that. So Rick Scott knows exactly how to do this operation, exactly how to rid the system of its corruption, and that's just my brief endorsement of Rick Scott. But don't take my word for it. Listen to Tucker. Do we have the Tucker Carlson, the tweet here? Let's pop it up. This is really important. What the hell is going on in the U.S. Senate, says Tucker Carlson, to 20 million people? What the hell is going on in the U.S. Senate? Hours after Donald Trump wins the most conclusive mandate in 40 years, Mitch McConnell engineers a coup against his agenda by calling early leadership elections in the Senate. Two of the candidates hate Trump and what he ran on. One of them, John Cornyn, is an angry liberal whose politics are indistinguishable from Liz Cheney's. The election is Wednesday. By secret ballot, it will determine whether or not the new administration succeeds. Rick Scott of Florida is the only candidate in the administration who agrees with Donald Trump. Call your senator and demand public endorsement of Rick Scott. Do not let McConnell get away with it again. And you can see there, the first comment is RFK. RFK saying, the RFK, the true hero of 2024, his endorsement, his brave endorsement of President Trump and embracing of the MAGA and MAHA movement, I personally believe put us over the line, possibly more than anything, this side of Trump surviving his assassination by the hand of God. Without Rick Scott, the entire Trump reform agenda is wobbly. Who is John Thune? Who is John Cornyn? Who are the people who are running for Senate majority that have angered so many of the new rightful power brokers in our country? Charlie, Kirk, Vivek, Elon, RFK, Jr., Tucker, and me. The despicable commentary and left-wing feline energy that oozes from Cornyn and Thune is indicative of something very important that I witnessed in Washington, D.C. in my time there. It's indicative of a demoralized person. And maybe you were expecting something more profound than that, but let me explain. Washington, D.C. acts as an incubator. Tight, man. Tight as a drum. Ping, 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 ping. It's the barrel, and everything's so loud inside the barrel. And these senators who go to the swamp find it so cozy after a while because they start getting rich, and their wife starts trading stocks, and they start getting invited on CNN, and they start to get invited to parties. And all of that is an operation in order to control them. John Thune and John Cornyn are controlled Democrat sleeper cells. I tell you this as a matter of fact. They are controlled Democrat activists because, even though they might have an R behind their name because they're from Texas and from South Dakota, they answer to the left. I can prove it, okay? It's not just me. It's not just me to be mean. I can prove it. They behave like the left. Here's John Cornyn on January 6th. John Cornyn posted on January 6, 2022, my statement on the anniversary of January 6th Capitol riot. Having seen firsthand the violence and lawlessness of January 6th, I'm committed to doing whatever I can to prevent this from happening again. Today's the anniversary of the deadly riot. The deadly riot? What do you mean deadly riot? You mean Ashley Babbitt? Are you upset about Ashley Babbitt? Really? No, of course not. A year after January 6th, he's fomenting hoaxes against President Trump and honoring the anniversary of January 6th. This is disqualifying. Done. You're done. Disqualifying. John Thune's called for Trump to withdraw from the race in 2016. John Thune said, Trump must withdraw. He must drop out of the race. This is after the Billy Bush Access Hollywood tape. And Mike Pence must be our nominee immediately. Look at that. Look at that. Well, well, well. Totally disqualifying, of course. But what does this prove? What does it prove time and time again? That these are the kind of cowards. Here's another winner for Cornyn. I'm sorry, for Cornyn. And Cornyn's the same. Cornyn's the exact same. Here's another winner. John Thune, so excited to be to catch up with his old friend. Please scroll down. Ah, would you look at that? I wonder who would really be in charge of the Senate. What's this operation all about? There it is. John Thune and Dick Cheney. My old friend. Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney did everything they possibly could. I mean, this side of like orchestrating an assassination on Donald Trump. They've done it to other leaders all around the world. They've done coups. They just go ahead and just kill the leader, right? This, the dark history of the Cheneys. This is the way that they get their results. The Cheneys did everything that they could to prevent President Trump from taking office, including but not limited to Liz Cheney being ubiquitous on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris. Liz Cheney, you could argue, this side of Mark Cuban, was the #1 Kamala Harris spokesperson and advocate. And here is what is, according to our reporting, the future Senate leader, John Thune, literally hugging him. Disqualifying. John Thune saying that it's time for us to have other options other than Trump. It's time for us to not have President Trump in office. This was, of course, in 2022 when it was when it was obvious that Trump was the choice, right? We wanted to, as we've said many times in this program, we're not Democrats. We don't literally just select the candidate without a primary. Let the primary happen. Trump ran and executed the best primary in Republican GOP history. Lost, I think, did he lose like a single primary? And that was D.C.? Is that right, Alex? Trump lose like one state and it was D.C.? But we're not Democrats. Let them fight, okay? Make your case. Prove that you'll beat the Don. They won't. They didn't. John Thune certainly wanted it. Listen to this.
Donald Trump is the Republican nominee. Would you support him?
Well, I'm hoping, Leanne, to have other options.
Interesting. Both of them went on TV to trash President Trump after Donald Trump had lawfare engaged against him. Here we go.
Scott, let me ask you before we go ever so briefly to summarize Capitol Hill response, so far as you've been able to gather it, to the civil verdict in Manhattan today against former President Trump.
Two reactions worth noting from Senate Republican leadership. John Cornyn of Texas told CBS News he simply doesn't think Donald Trump can get elected president. Quite a statement from Senator Cornyn. John Thune of South Dakota says America is going to have to decide whether it wants to deal with, quote, all the drama. After this verdict and the other investigations, not exactly a robust endorsement from top Senate Republicans for Donald Trump tonight.
They backstabbed President Trump. Should never be forgotten. Like when Donald Trump was being tortured by Biden regime lawfare, when American citizens and J6ers were being tortured in prison chambers, John Thune and John Cornyn endorsed their imprisonment, helped shackle our movement, helped lock up Americans. They literally put the cuffs on guys like Steve Bannon, these two. Scum. And then, as Donald Trump was facing life imprisonment or worse, taking a bullet to the head, taking a bullet for us in our country, these two jackasses said Trump shouldn't be president. Sabotaging our movement. Now, are they being directed by George Soros or someone at the CIA to say this? I don't think so. What I think is actually happening is they are so insulated by the corporate media. They've been psyoped. They've had their brains broken. They actually believe the headlines. They live in Washington, D.C. They live in an echo chamber. And I know this because I've been doing calls all week. And now we're going to get to the huge news that we broke this week. I know this because I've called many of my allies in the Senate and this program's allies in the Senate. And guess what they told me? Their staffs are liberal. They're all anti-Trump, every single one of them. Every single one of their staffers, people from McConnell, people from Paul Ryan's office. These two guys should not be within a breath of the leadership role. The only person that can hold the side up is Rick Scott. Rick Scott is the man. One final clip. John Cornyn saying, Trump's time's passed him by. No, it's not time for Trump anymore. This was from 2022.
From U.S. Senator John Cornyn out of Texas, the Republican says former President Donald Trump can't win the 2024 general election for president. He also says the GOP needs to find a candidate who actually can. This is all in a call with Texas reporters. Cornyn saying, I think President Trump's time has passed him by. And he adds, I don't think President Trump understands that when you run in a general election, you got to appeal to voters beyond your base. Now, Trump kicked off his presidential campaign right here in Texas, in Waco, back in March. Recent polls show him as the early frontrunner for the Republican nomination. President Biden has launched his re-election campaign last month.
Senator Cornyn said Trump won't win because he won't appeal to Republicans beyond his base. Well, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Disqualifying. What a jackass. Why would we allow these people? Why would we even allow him to stay in the Senate? He should resign in shame. Both of them should resign in shame. They should resign. They should say, well, hey, we're from Republican states. The governor, we have disgraced ourselves. If they were Japanese samurai, they would have resigned by now. And said they've disgraced themselves and their families and let the Republican governors of their states, which hate them, by the way. We know Greg Abbott really well. We know Kristi Noem really well. Those Republican governors hate John Cornyn and John Thune, respectively. If they were men of honor, they'd resign. They wouldn't be running for leadership. Are you effing kidding me? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. They're running for leadership. These backstabbers. And hot damn, they might get it. Check this out. Here's what we reported this weekend. Broke the internet. Here's the list, ladies and gentlemen. We were the first in the entire nation. We thank you for giving us the resource and the power and the connection to do this. You watching the show gives us the access to muscle people and to actually get information. And instead of hiding it behind a paywall, we say, nope, we're fighting for the future of the country. Here's the list. Where did I get the list? Let's just call it an impeccable source, perfectly positioned, in order to give you an accurate list breakdown of where the Senate is right now. Cornyn, 18 votes. Thune, 24 votes. Scott at 11 votes. Your senator's on this list, no doubt. And there's a 75% chance that your senator is voting for Mitch McConnell to maintain power, which is what this is. This is a direct quote from a United States senator to me. Cornyn and Thune are Mitch McConnell's dogs. McConnell owns them. They're putty trained by Mitch McConnell, and they'll come when called. They'll roll over. They'll fetch, boy, fetch. Did we just do all this work? Did I just have all this time away from my kids? Did we just put all this effort in to allow Mitch McConnell to maintain power over the Senate that we delivered to a Mitch McConnell who has openly, wantonly lost Senate races around the country and backstabbed our movement and refused to endorse and manipulate it and gave guys like Larry Hogan in Maryland $30 million, wouldn't give Kari Lake a single penny? No. No. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is today that we are going to demand that you call your senator. Please, we have the number. Call your senator and say, here's a Senate switchboard. They'll direct you to the office. Say, go over to our tweet here. Say, why are you betraying us? Exactly. And I'll give you the quick answer here, and then we're going to jump over to Lara Trump. We are so excited to speak with her. The quick answer, the dirty answer, is that they've been promised something. Everybody has a leverage point. And so the way that this happens is in the back room. Oh, you'll get extra funding for your district. Oh, you'll get your wife will get appointed to this thing. Oh, we'll hold up all appointments until your wife becomes an ambassador, right? Oh, your little pet project, we'll make sure it happens. This is how it's done. This is how the deals are done. It has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with the voters, and now all these senators are bitching to the corporate press about shows like ours. They're openly attacking and waging war with Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk right now. Oh, you're gonna learn today, as my grandfather used to say. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna learn today with the great chairwoman of the RNC, Lara Trump, who joins us live now. Laura, congratulations. We need to do the victory music. I don't know if we can do the Trump win. We're so excited about it. We're so excited. Do we have it? We'll just do real quickly. So,
there
okay,
you
just
and you're seeing it on football fields coming to you soon. And more of that. I love it. I love the Trump victory dance. And I'm just going to give a round of applause to the American people, Benny, because thank you, America, for delivering such an epic win. Benny, they can't even argue with it. 312 electoral votes. Are you kidding me? All 7 of the swing states, turning areas like Miami-Dade County red. This is epic. It's amazing. And I'm so grateful. Thank you, America. We appreciate it. And this is going to be the greatest 4 years America has ever seen. Get ready, starting January 20th.
We're so proud of you. You can pop it up. We have the victory dance. We have the victory dance on the football field.
There you go.
Yes. All across the country. They're doing the Trump dance, Laura.
It's so good. Everybody, if you know, you know. And let me tell you something. They know. They understand it. So I love to see it. More of that.
So, and that's me. That was at Tampa Bay Buccaneers Day. That just took place right around the corner from our house. We want to send love from this program. You've been such an ally, and you've been such a profound fighter for your family, for your father-in-law, and you were out in places like Atlanta, where we saw you on the trail. In dark blue areas, you and your bus tour crisscrossed 20 different states. You were everywhere. Nobody worked harder. People worked as hard. Nobody worked harder than the great Lara Trump. And you made time for this program to come on and update our audience. We say thank you. We say congratulations, Laura.
Oh, well, thank you. And by the way, I think that was important. It's always important to reach out. And look, we took Donald Trump's lead. Reach out to people who may not traditionally be Republicans and say, hey, here's why you should vote for Donald Trump. Here's why you should vote for Republicans down ballot. And guess what, Benny? It actually worked. You actually saw how much redder so many states like Texas, like New York, like California became in this election. My gosh, we were on the verge of winning Virginia and New Jersey. This is really epic, and I think we want to keep this momentum going. And I think with what we're going to see out of the White House and we hope out of Congress over the next 4 years, I certainly hope that that this is only the beginning. And I'm very proud of our team. So thank you. Appreciate it.
It's not possible without you being the chairwoman of the RNC. We say it. You don't have to say it. We're happy to say it. It's not possible without you and the election integrity team. You can see they're trying to do it right now in Pennsylvania. Mark Elias has been dispatched there to go find some random box of votes. They tried so hard in Wisconsin and Michigan, and they couldn't break through because of your team. This isn't possible without Lara Trump at the RNC and without the change in leadership. Something that I'd like to touch on here, but the change in leadership from Ronna McDaniel to you and it saved the election. I think it was inarguably the critical moment in this election. Well, along with this quick photo. This is a good Clyde. Here we go. Okay. Along with this.
Look at that. Oh, Scott Presler. By the way, can we just touch on Scott Presler before I go into the team at the RNC?
Please.
This is a guy who I said to Scott, I said several months ago, I said, when we win Pennsylvania, it'll be because of you. And Scott, it's because of you. Thank you for all of your hard work. This guy moved. I mean, Benny, people probably know Scott didn't live in Pennsylvania. He moved to Pennsylvania, I think in March, so that he could register and be a Pennsylvania voter and register as many people as possible. He flipped Bucks County in terms of voter registration, Luzerne County. He flipped all of these counties from the Democrats holding the majority in voter registration to Republicans. And I want to give him massive, massive credit. It was an honor to work alongside of him and his team throughout the course of this election. So thank you. I'm going to give another round of applause to Scott Presler. We absolutely love Scott. Thanks for all you did in this election. But, you know, you talk about the election integrity team, Benny, and that was really it. When Michael Whatley and I took over as chair and co-chair of the RNC, we said the RNC is doing a lot of things, trying to be everything to everybody. And when you do that, you're sort of nothing to anyone, right? You can't do too many things. We were wearing a lot of hats at the RNC. So we said, we're going to just strip it all down. We obviously showed a lot of people that maybe this wasn't the place for them, changed a little bit inside the RNC. And we said, we're going to focus on just two things, getting out the vote and protecting the ballot. And the reason this was so important wasn't just to prevent cheating, which obviously we wanted to do. It was to be a deterrent to anyone who might consider cheating, because we wanted to make sure everybody knew, hey, we're watching. So you try it and we're going to throw you in jail. But we also had to ensure that people who might not be traditionally coming out every election cycle, low propensity voters, saw that we had a handle on this and said, you know what, it is worth it for me to get off my couch. It is worth it for me to go and take a day from work, stand in line sometimes for 6 hours, which people in Pennsylvania and Bucks County actually did, vote for Donald Trump. And that is why we made sure that we had 230,000 volunteers. That's why we made sure we had 3,500 attorneys all across this country. We didn't want to chance it, and we wanted to restore election integrity and make people feel good about voting in the United States again. And I'm really, really proud of our team. They did an amazing job, tackled things in the moment. We addressed them as they came, and we couldn't be more thrilled with the outcome.
Just incredible. I really, really hope that they pass mandatory voter ID. I think it'll make your job a lot easier, actually.
Isn't it ironic that the states that Kamala Harris actually won are the states where they don't have mandatory voter ID? You try to take out an ID in California, they basically want to lock you up. The one thing they want to lock people up for, basically, in California, don't dare show a voter ID. They don't want it there.
Yeah, we actually have a map for that. It shows the states, the only states, were the ones with no ID.
Huh.
Yeah, quite remarkable. Oh, here it is. Okay, quick as a flash. There you
go. Look at that.
So, in spite of all of the uphill battle that you fought against the establishment in order to get this done, and I'm sure there are so many stories you can't say on air, but I know the establishment came for you and was fighting tooth and nail every step of the way. They want a subservient Republican Party that behaves like a dog that sits and stays and does what it's told and rolls over, right? Comes when it's called. You fought through and you actually won. And now the American people are demanding, with this landslide, that our agenda gets implemented. And you must have congressional leaders to do that. Part of your landslide included winning the Senate by what could have been 55 or 56 seats, but what ended up being 53 seats. And now that race is something that everybody is talking about. There's some pretty disturbing anti-Trump posts from two of the lead candidates, Thune and Cornyn. I know that there are many people inside of your orbit who helped to deliver this victory, like Tucker, Vivek, Charlie Kirk, who've endorsed Rick Scott. What's your take on the Senate leadership race right now?
Yeah, well, listen, I think that you've seen in the past how even people within our own party have fought against the agenda that the American people want. And you're right. You cannot look at 312 electoral votes. You cannot look at winning the popular vote by, I think, 7 million people and say the American people want anything other than Donald Trump at the top and for his agenda to get passed. And in order to do that, obviously, we want leadership in Congress who is going to fight for the very things that the American people mandated on November 5th of this year. So you've heard a lot of people talk about, there are three folks in the running for this. Rick Scott clearly has been very loyal to Donald Trump. I think that there are a lot of folks who've been very outspoken on having him as as leader there. And I think that it could be very impactful. But, it's the will of the people. And I heard you talking before I came on. If you're a person out there who wants to see that happen, make sure you call your senator. Make sure you call and say, hey, I want Rick Scott. If that's what the American people want, then that's what the American people deserve. And it is supposed to be that we, the people, are in charge of this country, Benny. And we can never forget that. The folks in Washington, D.C. work for us. And we sent a loud and clear message on Tuesday of last week. So I hope they are listening. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I certainly think that the Rick Scott would do an amazing job.
Yeah. So zooming out, why have a secret vote? If you want to vote for somebody, I'll tell everybody why I voted for Trump. And I've been doing it for 4 years. So I'm happy to explain why your father-in-law is the person that I cast my ballot for. This is what I do professionally. And I'm sure that every person watching right now could easily rattle off why they voted for Donald Trump. Something actually quite profound, because nobody could explain why they voted for Kamala. It's so fun to ask me, why are you voting for Kamala? Nobody could ever say. But I guess at the very least, stand up, right, for your vote. And I don't understand the secret ballot thing in the Senate. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, that's concerning to a lot of people. You should own it. Whatever it is, you should own it. And you should be able to explain yourself, to your point, as to why you thought that was the best person. It would probably go a long way for the American people to have a little more transparency. That's all we want, by the way. With Donald Trump, with whoever it is, we want our leaders to be transparent. We want you to tell us the truth, and we want you to tell us what you're doing behind the scenes on our behalf, because we sent you there as our representatives. So we should know how it is that they're voting. I agree with you. I think that would be a very nice thing to see implemented. So I would second that motion. Thank you for considering that.
There's some really exciting announcements. Susie Wiles just made history, shattered glass ceilings.
Yeah,
right?
we broke the glass ceiling. The Democrats are very upset about that thing. You love to see it.
You do. You just love to see it. Stephen Miller, I know, such a strong ally and such a brilliant man, now announced as deputy. Tom Homan back in the saddle. It's shaping up to be one heck of an administration. Laura, what should we expect to see next? Should we expect to see Lara Trump appointed Secretary of CrossFit and getting America healthy again?
I'll accept that. Well, RFK and I need to do a workout together. I said this a long time ago. I'm not mad about the workout videos. I love a good workout video. And I'm all about it. Let's get America healthy again. The pharmaceutical companies are melting down as we speak. Yes. Fantastic news. Listen, I think that what Donald Trump learned the first term in office, there was a lot to learn. Let's be honest. This was a guy who had never had anything to do with politics. He had no idea about Washington, D.C. And if you go back and actually look at interviews that he's done, he'll say, look, I did make some mistakes going in. I didn't know the apparatus around the White House. I didn't know I had to fill 5,000 jobs whenever I got there. So I had to rely on people to help me fill those positions. This time around, it is a totally different animal. He knows what he wants. And I think maybe most importantly, he knows what he doesn't want. Fighting alongside of him in the White House, in his administration, in these cabinet positions. This is going to be the beginning of a new era, the golden age of America, as he talks about. And I think people feel it, Benny. You can finally breathe in the country again. You can finally say, oh my gosh, there's hope. And I have said this in multiple interviews, but I really do believe when Donald Trump leaves the White House, and after the end of his second term in office, I believe he's going to have one of the highest approval ratings of any modern president. I think that the people who voted him in this time around, a lot of those people didn't vote for him the previous two times, but they now see, it's clear as day, that the mainstream media has been lying to you, the Democrats have been lying to you, and now they understand it. And once people are awake, and once you're awakened by all this stuff, you're not going to go back to sleep. And I really do think we're poised for some incredible things. And you can see by his appointments thus far that he really is shaping his administration and his White House to reflect what he knows the American people want. And I think it's going to be incredible.
We have this amazing series of photos of Elon Musk this weekend at Mar-a-Lago. If you're wanting a vision cast into the future of what this incredible nation has in store, you can see Elon in full cowboy uniform. He got the cowboy boots on and the belt buckle.
By the way, every time I go to Mar-a-Lago, Elon's there. I'm like, are you just hanging out? He's every time, Benny, I've been there in the past week, he's there. I don't know. He must be staying there. Nobody told me, but he's so involved. And I think it's so cool. Who wouldn't want a brilliant mind like Elon Musk alongside Donald Trump? And by the way, who is ready for the absolute annihilation of the fat in Washington, D.C. via Elon Musk? When he cleans that up, man, I am so excited for that. And I think that it's just epic. Everything is so cool. It's so great. It's all new and it's different. And I think that's why Americans are excited again about all of this. It's going to be awesome. And even the Democrats, they're struggling, Benny, for anything to knock any of us on. They really are having a hard time. And as we say in my home state, bless their hearts.
So Doge is happening. So Doge,
I think so.
Full Doge.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you say Democrats are struggling. We have the first behind-the-scenes photo of Kamala Harris after you defeated her, Laura, at the RNC. Here she is in sweats with her hair in a top knot, guzzling a glass of wine. We've often said that Kamala Harris sounds like she's had a couple glasses, and we know that as a matter of reporting that she does certainly slam the box of wine. But here we go. Here's Kamala Harris. Any closing comments to Kamala, Laura?
Listen, I just think there was a very clear lesson to be learned from this election, and whether or not the Democrats take it to heart, that's up for them. I think that it has been the proudest time of my life to have served as the RNC co-chair over the past 8 months or so since Michael Whatley and I took over things. It's been some of the proudest moments of my life to stand beside my father-in-law in this fight and fight alongside of him. And I think what the Democrats should take away from this is that they have to be more honest with Americans. They have to be more transparent, and they have to come in with a little bit of sanity. There were so many insane things that they were proposing for this country, and the American people wholly rejected it. They want their lives back. They want more money in their pockets. They want a closed border. They want less wars, not more. And Donald Trump brought them that the first term in office. That's why they reelected him as our 47th president. Now they need to do some deep, deep reflecting. I don't know if it'll happen because it certainly seems like they haven't taken any of it seriously thus far. It'll remain to be seen, but I couldn't be prouder to have been part of this team, to be part of this family and this incredible movement. And look, we're never going to have another Donald Trump. There's never going to be another guy, Benny, who goes and works at McDonald's and then a couple days later drives a garbage truck to a rally in Wisconsin. You're just never going to get that ever again. He's the greatest, the GOAT, all of the things. And I love him so much, and I'm so proud of him. And I'm just really excited for this country. It's going to be incredible.
It's the destruction of the House Obama. It's the last dynasty to fall was House Obama, and now it's over. It's so wonderful to see. Final thing here. Your beautiful post. You've posted one time since your victory. Here it is. You say, feels good to finally exhale. And I think you're fishing here in a waterway.
That's my daughter, but I'll take it.
Yes. So you're fishing with your daughter here in a waterway. I know you're a little taller than that, Laura. But this must be, you're finally getting a little family time?
Yeah, that was the tough thing, really, was being away from our kids as much as we were. And I knew taking this job, Benny, I knew the last several months of an election. I've done this before. This is our third round in terms of a presidential campaign. And it's crazy. But, when you're the co-chair of the RNC, it's even crazier. And I knew going into this what it would mean. But I did it for her. I did it for my son. I did it for your kids. I did it for every American out there with children and grandchildren and who wants this country to remain the greatest on earth, because our kids deserve it. And so it was so nice on Sunday to be able to hang out with my kids, to relax with my husband, to take a little family time, because we certainly have been missing that. But now we all get to relax and enjoy with our families, knowing that this country is in great hands with Donald Trump at the top. And again, just couldn't be more proud of him and everybody on our team. Thank you to everybody.
Praise God. I say it. It's very easy. It's very easy to fight the fight when you view it as a spiritual battle for your children.
Yeah.
When you view it as like demons actually coming for your children.
Listen, it's so much bigger than all of us, and it always has been. Somebody asked me recently, how is it that you work so hard, that people tend to work so hard for Donald Trump? And we all know that this fight isn't about any of us. This is about something that's so much bigger than any of us. And it's easy when you think about what it could have meant, if this had gone the other way. And we all know how frightening that was. It's easy to put in overtime. It's easy to work hard and to dig deep and to sleep for like 1 hour like I did on Monday night and 2 like I did on Tuesday night. It's fine because we saved America, and by that we saved the world. So truly an honor.
You did troll Taylor Swift one time in parting. I just wanted to maybe give you an opportunity. I know you did a music video to a Taylor Swift song while you were on the Women for Trump bus. My producers are grabbing it right now, but
they got very upset about that. Apparently, I didn't even know that anybody got upset about that. Turns out they're very sensitive. But you know what? I'm allowed to listen to Taylor Swift if I like it. I'm allowed to make a little TikTok video. Nothing wrong with that, Benny. This is America. We can do whatever. I love it.
Oh man, that was the energy. I'm telling you what, we'll never see another election like it, and we're just so profoundly thankful to you and this audience for your leadership at the RNC and for bringing it home, man. The great Lara Trump, pop on over. Millions and millions of people already follow, but you should be one of them. 1.9, we're just going to round up. 2 million Americans, can't be wrong. Lara Trump, the queen of MAGA.
Thank you,
Laura. God bless you. Can't get enough of the trolling Taylor Swift. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't get enough of it. Here it is. I can't get enough of it. It's right here. We'll pop it up. Why not? I mean, we have to. We're going to get to Julie Kelly in just a second, who's great, and I think standing on by with a blowtorch for John Thune and John Cornyn. This was the energy. This is the energy that won the election.
Voting Donald Trump, baby.
Boom. Boom, baby. Boom. Let's go, man. Let's go. It was the gold standard of elections. You should invest in gold. Gold has been the #1 performing asset in the year 2024, and in a universe where everything's going to get a little topsy-turvy, it's important that you invest in gold, and it's why so many countries right now are buying up gold like crazy. Invest with my friends at Allegiance Gold. They've built their company the right way. They have 5 stars at TrustLink and an A+ with a Better Business Bureau. Allegiance Gold can help protect you in times of in interesting economic times. I think the roller coaster is going to continue. It's going to be glorious. Well, ladies and gentlemen, diversify today. Get up to $5,000 in free silver with a qualifying investment when you go to protectwithbenny.com or call 844-66-BENNY. Don't risk your financial future. Protectwithbenny.com today. Protectwithbenny.com today. Performance may vary. Consult with your tax attorney, financial professional before making an investment decision. That's actually a great point there. You should consult with professionals before investing. And that's the same thing that we do on this program when we talk about who we should be supporting in elections and for Republican leadership. What have you done for me lately? Like, did John Cornyn and John Thune openly advocate for Americans to be locked in prison for peacefully protesting? There's one person, only one, who you would consider the world's professional on this topic, and that is the great Julie Kelly, who joins the program live now. Julie, hello, and hello.
Hello.
What an exciting time for us to look with a little bit of a microscope here at who was defending the very, very lonely game of being on the side of MAGA supporters who peacefully protested during January 6th, and who was happy to throw them not just under the bus, but destroy their lives in prison. Who were the people putting the shackles on MAGA grannies who waved little 25-cent American flags from Walmart during January 6th? Well, according to a pretty significant paper trail, John Cornyn and John Thune, who are favorites to be leaders of the Senate, were literally helping shackle MAGA supporters and giving Liz Cheney and Nancy Pelosi the capacity to ruin their lives. Am I wrong?
You are 100% right. And Benny, as you know, I've been posting tweets, comments that John Thune and John Cornyn have made as late as this year, defending the ongoing abusive, ruthless prosecution of their own constituents. I believe Texas has the second highest number of J6 defendants in the country, second only to Florida. John Cornyn has not only not said a word about this, he has defended it from the very beginning. He called January 6th an insurrection. He supported the January 6th Select Committee. He helped perpetuate, this is John Cornyn, the lie that Brian Sicknick was bludgeoned to death on January 6th. He sent out his sympathies for the death of Brian Sicknick. John Thune is not far behind. They also both opposed the RNC resolution, if you'll recall, in 2022, at demanding the censure of Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney for their participation on that witch hunt committee that we now know, Benny, and you and I have talked about. Liz Cheney probably breaking numerous laws by tampering with witness Cassidy Hutchinson, suborning perjury in her sworn testimony, both behind closed doors and publicly. But these two, think about this, Benny, while they're talking about democracy for Ukraine, right? Focusing almost all of their energy, especially John Cornyn, on sending our hundreds of billions to Ukraine to defend democracy. They have defended authoritarian tactics here by the Biden regime, Merrick Garland and Matthew Graves' DOJ to continue to round up, charge, and imprison their own constituents. They cannot be trusted with any measure of power, especially leader of the Senate.
Here it is, right from the great X profile of Julie Kelly, who has turned her reporting prowess on these two backstabbers of our movement who would like to see you in prison. I'll say it. You don't have to. I'll say it. They'd be happy to jail you. They were happy that Donald Trump was facing legal troubles. They did victory laps when President Trump faced torturous attacks and lawfare by the left. They're on camera doing it. And you can see here a statement saying that John Cornyn fully supports Nancy Pelosi's 9/11 style witch hunt in order to lie to the American public and in order to lock up his constituents. That's correct. That's insane. Julie, so John Cornyn is actively literally putting the shackles on his own state of Texas Republican voters.
He also, and I posted this, Benny, he also sent a letter to Joe Biden at the end of January 2021, offering to use his position on the Senate Intelligence Committee to help Avril Haines, who is now the Director of National Intelligence. Avril Haines, Benny, is known as one of the quote-unquote Obama sisters. Her, Susan Rice, and Lisa Monaco, who is now the Deputy Attorney General. They are close Obama confidants. They all helped concoct the Russian collusion hoax. Avril Haines, an apprentice, an acolyte of Jim Clapper. And here is John Cornyn sending a letter to Joe Biden offering his assistance to help Avril Haines round up so-called domestic terrorists, i.e. Trump supporters. A few months later, Avril Haines, in March of 2021, as her first act of the Director of National Intelligence, issues this bogus report, just like they issued that bogus assessment, remember, in December of 2016, claiming the Russians had helped Donald Trump win. She was involved in that as well. Here she was in March of 2021, issuing this bogus report talking about domestic violent extremists, meaning Trump supporters, who had protested at the Capitol, and promising to use all the power of her 17 different agencies to target J6ers, which is exactly what she did, and her other Obama sister, Lisa Monaco, at Deputy Attorney General. And John Cornyn, a Republican, allegedly, is groveling. I mean, this letter is nauseating, groveling to Joe Biden. Please let me help imprison my own constituents. He just, one of them can, they actually should not only not be leaders of the Senate, they should both be primaried as soon as possible. I believe Cornyn is up for re-election next year, or excuse me, 2026.
If you had a shred of dignity, you'd resign. If you were a samurai, right, you'd go off into the woods. You'd say I've disgraced my house, I've disgraced my name, I've disgraced my family, and now I'm leaving. We played previously on the program all of the clips of these two men saying Donald Trump shouldn't run again, Donald Trump will lose, Donald Trump can't expand his base, attacking MAGA. And now you've brought the receipts that they would prefer to see Donald Trump in prison and his base put in jail along with him. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, you know, Benny, I think 2 or 3 senators over the past nearly 4 years have reached out to me directly. You know, Ron Johnson would be one, Ted Cruz another, for information on what's happening. Look, there's no one really in the U.S. Senate, maybe Ron Johnson and a few others, who deserve kudos for sticking up for J6ers and really grilling the DOJ and FBI. Think of also what John Cornyn has done. He stood on the Senate floor and praised FBI Director Christopher Wray, claiming that everything he does is by the book. Both John Thune and John Cornyn voted to approve Lisa Monaco as the Deputy Attorney General, again, a tight Obama confidant, putting her basically in charge of the day-to-day director Department of Justice. They both approved Avril Haines. They didn't even question, not only did they not question either one of them about Russia collusion during their confirmation hearings, they've now offered to help both of them. So to your point, they have shamed their name. The reason the Senate went Republican is because of Donald Trump. It is not because of anything John Cornyn or John Thune did. To the contrary, as you have pointed out, they have worked to sabotage Donald Trump and the MAGA base. They should not be rewarded. And there's the real villain right there, Mitch McConnell, right? He is the one running the show, the man who called January 6th an insurrection, who behind the scenes was supporting his impeachment, second impeachment based on the events of January 6th. I mean, this is what these faces right here, this is what Republican voters rose up against last week.
Yes.
So the thought that any of that group, John Barrasso, any of them, not only should be heading the Senate, but head of committees, we are now flexing the MAGA muscle that we saw on full display last week. And this is how you flex that power. You put in place people who support not just Donald Trump, but our agenda of America first, and rooting out the corrupt deep state, not giving them cookies after this unprecedented, decisive victory last week.
Yeah, speaking of cookies, these senators, and you do a lot of media, Julie, right? You're on a lot of shows, and you do such a remarkable job going and getting your message out by doing the real media that has actual following. And this is how we're able to grow the support. And this election was obviously proof positive that works, right? That your style of media works.
Yes.
These senators, have you ever met a senator that wouldn't go on Fox News? You ever met a senator that wouldn't go on CNN? Or wouldn't sit in the black car that picks you up to go to on NBC or sit on Meet the Press, right? You've never met one. Yet, Julie, maybe you can explain this phenomenon that's happening right now. I haven't seen a single senator on TV explaining the case for John Cornyn. I haven't seen a single senator, even though, according to my reporting, dozens of them are planning on voting for John Thune, making the case for why. So what that leads someone like me, very, very simple man, to assume is that they're humiliated as to why they're actually backing these men, that there's corruption taking place behind the scenes. They've been promised things for a pound of flesh. They've sold out their constituencies, all of them on our list. Apparently 75% of the Republican caucus is going to vote against Donald Trump and for anti-Trumpers to lead them. And it's because they've been bought off. And that's what I'm left to assume, because nobody's making the case as to why they're voting that. No one's even willing to say that they're voting for Cornyn or Thune.
I think that is such an excellent point. Where are they defending their votes? Where are the lists that you posted last night of the whip count for who is voting for which individual, Rick Scott, John Thune, John Cornyn? Where are they? But Benny, this is and that is very illuminating and very disheartening to see some of those names who are going to vote against the MAGA movement. But look, we know mostly what this is about. This is about defending the profitable war machine in Washington. They know, and even the Republicans who pretend they're not supporting this continued funding of Ukraine, they all rely on it. They know this is going to be shut down under Donald Trump. So this is about preserving the Ukrainian war machine, the money laundering machine that runs through Zelensky and Ukraine. And then, of course, halting the confirmation of Trump's cabinet officials and other investigations that should proceed in the Senate. So there's a lot of nefarious, sinister back agenda to this. And look, the new media, to your point, again, is flexing its muscle. The old media, they're not going to go on Fox News, right? They haven't been on Fox News, but this is the new coalition. And especially someone like Elon Musk, who again is leading, helping to perpetuate, to promote Rick Scott as the next Senate leader. This is the new coalition. And this is why Democrats and never Trump Republicans, and of course the regime media, find so frustrating. It is out of their hands. And if Rick Scott does win this leadership vote on Wednesday, we are talking entirely new political territory landscape for the next 4 years.
You ever seen John Thune so happy than in this photo? You've never seen him so happy.
I can't even look at it.
Beaming,
right.
Disqualifying.
Shame.
So this is the extent. So when my take on this is that it is simply a continuation of McConnell power. that Thune or Cornyn, either one, McConnell gets what he wants, which is a loyal dog that comes when he's called to do what he wants. And McConnell ain't going away. He's not resigning. No. McConnell's sticking around. Right. So McConnell will pull a Obama, where he left the White House and moved down the street to Colorado, or a Pelosi, where she stepped away from leadership, yet she's won her 19th term in the House, right? She's 86 years old, and she ran again and won, okay? So she'll probably, Pelosi presumably will stay as a shadow power broker forever, right? And this is like a sick model in Washington. Like, when you're done, you be done, leave, right? But what McConnell's trying to pull off here is an Obama-Pelosi style, like, I'm going to pull the strings behind the scenes, I'm going to run everything, and I'm going to blackmail everyone, right, into doing what I want, and just sabotaging Trump. I think that's what's going on.
Absolutely. Agreed. And you're right. These shadow leaders who are so against Donald Trump, still pulling the reins of power, knowing they can use a dumb puppet like John Thune or John Cornyn, who, I mean, he's got to be the dumbest guy in the U.S. Senate. I mean, I can barely stand to listen to him talk. So he puts his puppets in place, and they'll be pulling the strings. And I believe, too, this is the same Mitch McConnell that dumped how much money into the Senate race of Larry Hogan in Maryland, who was resoundingly defeated, and pulled back, didn't give money to Ted Cruz to defend himself, or certainly Carrie Lake. So, again, there should be consequences for that. But I'm really so gratified, and I know you are too, to see the MAGA movement in media, on social media, use their newfound power now, not just to promote policy, but to force these weak Republicans in Congress and in the Senate that you are going to abide by the will of the American people, and you are not going to abide by the will of Mitch McConnell or Paul Ryan or Nancy Pelosi or anyone else. You're not in charge anymore.
I want to close on this remarkable quote from Punch Bowl News about Tucker Carlson. I'm sure you've seen this, Julie.
Yeah.
They had senators, so the rich, powerful, presumably multi-millionaire senators, because that's what you have to be to attain that role, thoroughly corrupt, is, with motorcades and with security and with a Senate badge and, with a taxpayer-funded salary, sitting here saying, they're bullying me. Feel sorry for me. Going specifically after Tucker Carlson, who I know is a strong ally of yours, and a major promoter of your work, Julie, saying, I don't care what Tucker Carlson thinks. They're trying to bully us. That's not how this works. They're effing around, Julie, and I think they're going to find out. Your thoughts in closing.
I love it. F-A-F-O. Imagine being a grown man, U.S. Senator, with staffers everywhere, offices everywhere, crying that, Tucker Carlson and the MAGA base on X are bullying them. That right there, you could send our money and maybe our young kids off to war, right? Without batting an eye or flinching. But God forbid you have people on X wanting you to do your actual job.
Yeah, God forbid. God forbid. What a bunch of bitches. They're cowards. They're culled by the left. They're subservient to the left. And thank you for exposing them, Julie. Everybody follow Julie Kelly. We're on our way. That's at 750,000, Julie. We're going to do it. We're going to do it by Christmas. We're going to do it by Christmas. 1 million for Julie by Christmas.
Oh my God, that would be a great Christmas present. But Benny, as always, on behalf of the J6ers and everyone else, thank you so much for always having me on and covering my work. I appreciate it.
Justice for J6 political prisoners. God bless you, Kelly. Julie Kelly.
Thanks, Benny.
Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, it's all starting to break into pieces. And it's because of, the incredible power of what we're building here. It's amazing. We're actually showing who wields cultural power. Now, we're very humble to simply say that we were happy to play a note. Ding. But this was the Joe Rogan election. Call it what it is. This was the Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Andrew Schultz, Sean Ryan, alternative media election. I know there's 20 different people that I'm not naming there, but there are so many. the Steve Bannons, the Dan Bonginos, the Charlie Kirks, who muscled forward through shadow bans, through deplatforming, through the barriers that they put on us in the corporate media and the corporate media ecosystem that, of course, runs some of the major platforms in this nation. We have broken out of the chains, and now, ladies and gentlemen, completely and totally unchained, we can prove who the real media is. Elon Musk posting all weekend, "You are the media," on X. You are the media. And so we're going to use that power. Unlike Republicans, who are, well, at least the DC Republicans, who are completely kept pets of this system, we are not. And we have something far better to fight for than a party to the White House, than an invitation to the White House Correspondents' Dinner party. You are the media. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. If ever you have an opportunity to join a social media platform, it is now the time to join X. Believe that. This is the moment where X is wildly entertaining and informative and important for you to actually understand the world around you. The American election happened on X. You knew the results of the election months before it happened if you were on X and if you were tuned in, ladies and gentlemen. So get in there. You are the media, the voice of the people. Quick shout out to ALX. Click on ALX. Just a quick shout out to ALX. The truth. Just go on in there. Follow me. Something. ALX getting chased by Julie Kelly. ALX getting chased by Julie. Who's going to hit 1 million first? ALX has a slight lead. We will see. We will see. Who's going to hit the 1 million? 1 million by Christmas. Come on, baby. Bring it home. Here we go. The first Monday gun day of our glorious, glorious election victory. Let's rock and roll. I cannot believe what I'm about to show you. This is the man who's the front runner to become the Democrat nominee in 2028. Okay. Yeah. His name's Governor Pritzker of Illinois. He's such a slob. This guy is so corrupt. He's such an enemy of freedom. And Illinois should be a red state. Illinois should be a red state. I'm telling you, man. Illinois could be a red state. You look at the way the election shook down in Illinois. Can we click on it on our map? Yeah. Oh, that's a funny quote there, Klein. That's great. We can do that. Yeah. Physically or Alex? The headline says, "When you come for my people, you come through me. Jabba no fala, Jabba no misa." He is easily distracted by snacks, says Elon Musk. We just put some donuts on the table and make sure that he doesn't knock you over. Your way to go. Well, there you go. There's ALX eliciting the interaction on X of the governor of Illinois. The governor of Illinois, who oversees a red state. It's a red state. Illinois is a red state. It's a red state. Chicago should turn red. There are wards in Chicago that went hard MAGA. Wards that have a lot of Filipinos. Wards that have Hasidic Jewish populations. Wards that have black populations. That vote Trump. I'm telling you, man. Donald Trump lost Illinois by less than 10 points. You can win. You can win. We can win Illinois next time. I'm not saying spend $100 million there, but you can win Illinois. They're going to lose a ton of electoral votes because nobody wants to live there. Illinois is the #1 fleeing state in the country. The #1 state where people emigrated out of, right? And that's why he's so horrified. That's why the governor of Illinois is so horrified about Donald Trump deporting the state, because actually you need the population. What happens is then the entire state becomes like Gary, Indiana. It's like a ghost town. They know they've done such a despicable job. A federal judge has smacked Pritzker down. He passed an assault weapons ban. Federal judge in the Southern District of Illinois issued a permanent injunction on Friday enjoining the state from enforcing the assault weapons ban contained in the Protect Illinois Communities Act. The Second Amendment Foundation was among the plaintiffs. Their founder, Alan Gottlieb, responded, calling Friday a great day for gun rights. The judge's order allows 30 days before the injunction goes into force, giving the state that period of time for which to file an appeal. Pritzker signed the assault weapons ban. The ban faced immediate pushback by law enforcement and sheriffs in 80 counties, making it clear that they would not enforce it. Of course, this is illegal, unconstitutional, but also, if you want higher... We did this once. We compared the number of deaths on the front lines of Ukraine versus Chicago, like a weekend in Chicago. Guess who had more? It's amazing what they're trying. It's amazing, the governor of Illinois trying to ban guns and not actually talk about the true cause of gun violence, which is total and complete societal collapse, lawlessness, defunding your police, letting criminals run roughshod over entire towns and cities around Chicago. We were just in Chicago for the DNC convention. We saw it with our own eyes. We went to O Block. We went to the South Side. Oh man, it was a dangerous looking. Every house falling in, cratering. It's in shambles, man. Instead of attacking what causes criminality and societal destruction, which is wokeism, totally and completely represented by Pritzker, they're going after the guns. Wow. Now they've been smacked down, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful start to the week. That is our Monday Gun Day, brought to you by the AR-15 of the Johnson household, Spikes Tactical. An exciting time to be alive, a time when we are winning. We expect more winning. We will be at Mar-a-Lago soon, hatching some schemes and some plots. Expect that. It's going to be fun. We'll probably be doing some special programming there. But we got a little invitation to go on down to Mar-a-Lago, and we're gonna say yes to that one. More to come on that, but it'll be exciting. We're here fighting for the country with you. You give us the power to do so, and we so thank you for it. Please sign up for the Benny Brigade, ladies and gentlemen. It helps keep us going here at the program. You become a brigader here in this sweet, salty pirate ship that we all float on as we go and pillage the final islands of the swamp. Become a member. We opened up memberships on YouTube that allows you to have a membership to the page and leave custom emojis, and that's been flying. So we just want to say thank you to all of our members. We want to thank everybody who watches across these platforms. We do everything in our power to fight, and it's been a long race, but we haven't even stopped for a second. Worked all weekend, and now's the time. Now is the time. We also have some job opportunities. If you wish to work for our company, you are a cinematographer or a video editor. If you're somebody who's good in the actuarials, if you're somebody who's type A and can hit a spreadsheet pretty hard, right, and keep organized, we're hiring major positions at the company. Please apply. We would love to have you join us. We have so many exciting things ahead, and we are growing massively, and it's because of you. And so we say thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You can apply here on our open job positions on our website or ziprecruiter.com. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to work for this company, you can trust that you will get a Bible verse in our morning team chats, that's for sure. We do our verse of the day every single day, Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your hearts, for everything you do flows from it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to guard the heart of this nation. We are trying to guard in its infancy this great victory that we have here, a victory not possible without our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ blessing this nation and delivering us from evil, for which we got down on our knees and prayed and thanked this Sunday and every single day for the victory, ladies and gentlemen. Not possible. However, it is our job to continue the fight. Faith without works is dead. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're fighting here. Please fight alongside of us. Like, share, and subscribe. We won. And we're going to keep on winning. It's your boy, Benny. See ya.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
What a nasty woman. For Peanut.
Which one is it? You must choose. But choose wisely.
Let me choose.
He chose poorly.
Show where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.